the idea of creating as an entire class a unified theory of metaphysics provides a framework that, like a scientific unifying theory, allows people to understand how all metaphysical phenomena are connected, related, what the causal mechanisms are behind all of them. It provides a unifying perspective for how all metaphysical phenomena actually work. So it allows people to have a framework against which they can kind of measure outdated definitions and say, well, does the outdated definition fit in the framework? If it does, then you have an explanation that actually is more accurate of how the metaphysical experience works. If it doesn't, then you'll understand that the outdated definition is something that's more mythological or something that's just the product of folklore or an assumption of how things work.
Give us an
Yeah.
example of what you mean, with of an
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's say one of the things that Bashar often cites as an example is the whole concept of telepathy, which he refers to as telempathy. Now, the standard experiential definition of telepathy is someone saying, well, I'm reading someone else's mind. So what Bashar is saying is that's an interesting way to describe what the experience feels like, but it's not actually a description of how it actually works. What he's saying is it's all about resonance, it's all about frequency. And when two people are operating on a similar wavelength, like when people are in love with each other, they're often knowing exactly what each other is thinking, repeating, or finishing each other's sentences because they are operating on a similar wavelength. And because they're operating on a similar wavelength, they're having the same thoughts at the same time because certain thoughts go along with certain frequencies. So it's not that you're actually reading someone else's mind when you're being telepathic. You're reading your own mind, but you know that what you're thinking is what the other person is thinking because you're on a similar wavelength. Right. So that's the difference that this class seeks to explore, is how to understand the difference between a definition of an experience and a definition of an actual causal mechanism. And it's in understanding that causal mechanism that can allow us to apply those principles more clearly, more consciously in our lives in a way that moves us forward rather than remaining sort of stuck in an outdated definition that doesn't really explain what's happening.